warm chocolate just pours out, and there's ice cream on the side. So, and it's just incredible.
Welcome to English with Lewis. Let's go!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to English with Lewis. And today I'm joined by a special guest. It's Gideon. Hello.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me, Lewis. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm not doing badly. It's been a good day so far. And the reason we're here is because, myself and Gideon have just recorded another podcast on his channel. And we were speaking about food, life, football, kind of a bit of everything. We had a ball, we had a blast. So I thought, why not do it again on my channel?
Brilliant. Yeah. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed that conversation we just had. So I'm more than happy to continue with you.
Perfect. So, first and foremost, Gideon, tell people about you. Give us an elevator pitch.
Yeah. So, it's funny because I'm usually on the other side of this. I am usually just the one asking the question. So
like, oh God, what do I do now?
Yeah. It's really
What's my name again?
Yeah. Who am I? It gets quite deep. No. Yeah. So, of course, my name is Gideon. Born and raised in the southeast of England. I was in a little village called Threecourse in Kent. Kind of the quintessential, to be honest, British upbringing. I raised in a little cottage, fire by a pub, outside on my bike in the mornings and straight after school. And and I've lived in the southeast of England my whole life, but I've been fortunate enough to be able to do some traveling in between. I met my wife now in the Dominican Republic. So I ended up living out in the Dominican Republic for 4 years. Spent last year attempting to live in Italy. And now I'm back in the southeast of England. Yeah.
Perfect. So you've gone full circle, I guess.
Full circle. I'm back. I'm still, because we're kind of getting out of winter, but I'm still getting used to the grey skies at the moment. And we're slowly getting there. But it's not been great recently. Bit of a change.
I bet you're wishing imagine if I was in the Dominican Republic right now. But related to that, you said that you were attempting to live in Italy. What do you mean by attempting?
So we decided when we left the Dominican Republic that we wanted to, rather than just coming back to England, we wanted to start somewhere new. So we thought, let's try Italy, both of us. Like Italian culture, we like Italian food. We thought we'd give it a try. So we originally went and visited and found an area that we thought, we would like to live here. And when we first thought about it, we researched visas and we spoke to some lawyers, and there was a possibility of a certain visa that we could get, but it was extremely difficult. Just getting through the process just proved to be quite difficult. So as much as we enjoyed living there, we were renting a house, we absolutely loved it. Unfortunately, there was a point where we just had to call it a day on attempting to be there permanently with a visa. So that's why I say we attempted it. We tried hard, but it didn't quite plan out in the end.
Awesome. And just related to the Dominican Republic, I've never been there. I know where it is on a map. I like maps. But I know they speak Spanish. So what's life like in the Dominican Republic, and how was your experience there?
You know what? It's a lovely place to live. So my wife, she's from Manchester originally, but she was living out in the Dominican Republic. And long story short of how we met and that, but I ended up moving there once we got married. And the way of life is extremely nice in a simple way. And that's particularly what I liked about it. It really goes back to the simple things in life. And Dominican people are honestly just the nicest people. They're so welcoming. A lot, unfortunately, don't have a lot, but they're willing to give you everything they've got. And it was a really nice way of life. Sun's out. For me, being a redhead, it's quite dangerous. So I burnt a lot. Got used to just the constant feeling of burnt skin.
It's like,
but in the sun every time. but I just smelt of sun cream 24/7. Yeah,
Mm.
so but it was lovely. It was lovely. We could go down to the beach after work. Yeah, I miss it. I do miss it. I'll be honest with you.
I'm sure you'll be back. But anyway, it sounds good. So now, everybody, you know a bit more about Gideon, about his life. And now we're going to move on and ask each other some completely random questions. I say random. I use ChatGPT a lot. And I just asked ChatGPT, tell me 100 random conversational questions for an English class. So today, we're going to be playing the role of English learners and English students that I have in my class. So let's see how we get on.
It sounds good.
So the first question, Gideon, what is your ideal weekend? What would you do to spend like the perfect weekend?
So that's a great question. But I'm very worried the answer is going to be boring. Now,
Or it's not going to be.
yeah, I have to admit, now that I'm getting a little bit older, I love being at home. I really enjoy being at home with my wife, with my family. So my perfect weekend's probably a bit of a lie-in on a Saturday, staying in bed for perhaps longer than you normally would, relaxing, chilling, good breakfast, a good fry up, good English breakfast, and then maybe a walk fortunate where we live, we've got a few nice trails and walking trails. So go for a nice walk to a pub.
Okay.
Have a pint.
There's always a destination in mind.
Yeah, and it's generally a pub. Have a pint, come back, put some music on, cook some dinner. I'm a drummer, so I like to play drums. So then probably play some music, play some drums, and then pretty much repeat that on Sunday. I quite like a bit of DIY. I know that sounds crazy, but I like to, before I became a teacher, I was in construction and building. So I like a bit of that. So probably playing around in the workshop, just that kind of thing, but just really relaxed, chilled weekends, and just to kind of calm down, wind down from the week is perfect for me.
No, it sounds good. It's interesting that there were at the beginning, it started off like I was agreeing with you and thinking, oh yeah, it's true. I'm getting a little bit old at the moment too. I like being at home. And then it turned and you said, oh, I'm a drummer and I love music, but I'm terrible with music. I have no musical skills at all. I cannot play the guitar. I can't sing. I can't dance. I can't do any of this. So I'm like, well, good for you. I wish I had this talent. And then you said you like DIY. And I'm like, oh, Gideon, what falls apart? I genuinely don't know how to change a light bulb. But I mean, I do. Not genuinely, but I struggle to change a light bulb. And I'm like, how to change a light bulb?
Where does this go? Yeah, we were getting on so well, weren't we? And then I feel like I've ruined the friendship that would have ever happened.
No, it's all right. In relationships, opposites attract, and this can also happen in friendships too.
There we go. I hope so. But on that point, I do believe that everyone can play an instrument. You've just got to find the right instrument. I just don't think you found it yet. Unless I don't know. I believe there's an instrument out there for you.
Yeah, the triangle, right?
Hey, someone's got to play it.
Exactly. Yeah. Awesome. All right, let's move on to question number 2. And we've mentioned traveling. You've been in Italy and the Dominican Republic. So, hypothetically speaking, second conditional, if you could visit any country in the world, let's say, I don't know, this summer, for example, where would you go and why? And I know I'm putting you on the spot to pick one, but the first one that comes to mind.
Wow. Yeah. I have to be honest, I do actually have an answer to that.
Good.
And right now, I think it would be Australia.
Yeah.
Computer just went crazy. My computer went crazy for a minute there. Everything closed down and then came back up. It would be Australia. For a variety of different reasons. When my wife and I we were first getting to know each other, we always talked about going to Australia. and hiring a camper van, kind of the van that you can stay in. And then, of course, not driving around the country because we'd be there for years, but just driving certain points, staying in the van. And we both enjoy surfing. So just kind of that, just a relaxed trip in Australia. I think that would be my dream right now. But, for a period of time, maybe a couple of months, that would be right up there for me.
Perfect. So it'd be right up your street.
That's it. Yeah.
Something
What about you?
Perfect.
Yeah. What country would you like to go to?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mentioned earlier that I have already lived in Australia for a year, and this was my, let's say, second gap year. But it wasn't a gap year. I was working and I was teaching English. When I went there, actually, I thought that I'd be working in a bar or as a laborer, which, knowing my DIY skills, would have been a nightmare. But then I realized once I arrived that there was a huge industry for teaching English as a foreign language. So I already had the experience from working in Spain, and I got a job in Australia and managed to work, live, travel, and have everything in a year. So I 100% recommend visiting Australia, or even living in Australia, because the salaries are high, the weather's good, the people are quite fun and friendly. So yeah, if anyone watching this is interested, I'd give Australia a thumbs up.
Oh, wow.
But for this summer, recently I've been thinking that I really want to go to Colombia. And I want to visit the entire country because it's pretty big. You can't just go there for a week. And I've seen from documentaries that it has every single type of landscape. So you have volcanoes, you have lots of mountains, you have the jungle, the Amazon, you have some drier, arid deserts. So if, for example, I had a camper van, it'd be amazing to visit the entire country, try the food, of course. The people seem very, very passionate.
Yes.
They really like dancing, which, as I said, isn't really my cup of tea, but I guess I'd be throwing myself in the deep end and seeing if I could sink or swim.
I love that expression. Yeah. I didn't really think of that. Colombia would appeal to me as well. And when you said that about dancing, it really reminded me when I first went to Dominican Republic, my wife and friends said to me, Gideon, you're going to have to dance. I just said, no, no, for my sake and for yours, because it's not a pretty sight. And they said, no, if you have to. And because they love, of course, that Dominican culture, bachata, salsa, merengue, all of that. And I purely did it just to get brownie points with my girlfriend. But I said, once you get into it and you realize, who cares what you think? It was all right. I by no means good at it. I wouldn't do it in England. But yeah.
Your friends would be looking at you like, Gideon, who are you?
Yeah, who's that guy? Yeah, not in a good way.
Awesome. Cool. All right, let's move on to question number 3. And it's one that I ask my students, and many people in particular. Recently, June 2, the film came out, and I actually watched it on Sunday. I won't give away any spoilers. So yeah, don't worry about that. But many people debate like, is the film better or are the books better? The same happens with Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones.
I've not seen that one.
Yeah. So, Gideon, in your opinion, do you prefer reading books or watching films, generally speaking?
Yeah, the answer I want to give is I prefer reading books. That is the answer I really do want to give, because I think it sounds better. But in all honesty, I really love movies. I'm a real science fiction guy. I absolutely love cinema. I love everything about going to the cinema. My favorite film is Star Wars. Anything that kind of takes me away from normality, anything like that. And I'm with you on June 2. I won't say anything because I'm worried about ruining it. But it was an incredible cinematic experience. So I like reading. I do like reading books, but my preference would be watching a film. Definitely.
Now, I agree with you 100%. In fact, I've always tried to force myself to read in other languages because I know how useful it is. And I know that it's arguably more useful to read a book because of the amount of vocabulary you have, the range of vocabulary you have as well, that isn't really present in a lot of series and films. So I've always tried to like push myself and force myself to read in other languages, but
Brilliant.
I just don't enjoy it. So I think I've got to the point where now I recognize that it's going to feel like studying for me if I start reading in another language. And I'm sure many people watching this believe me as well, and they agree with me, and they think, oh, reading's so boring. Not everybody, absolutely. But basically, if you don't enjoy doing something to learn a language, my message is don't do it. Find the things that you enjoy. So I enjoy listening to podcasts, watching videos, and it's still really, really beneficial. Of course, reading in other languages is a great way to improve your English or whatever language. But if you don't enjoy it, you're never going to be consistent. So why bother? Just keep the passion and the motivation alive and just forget about it. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah. And just, I completely agree. You know, find things that you enjoy, or if you are going to read, you know, don't read a book just because someone told you to read it. You know, read a book that you're going to enjoy. You're going to enjoy the story. You're invested in it, or it's something that you're going to want to pick up because it, you know, there's so many different stressful things in life. We want learning a language to be a fun part, an enjoyable part of our lives. So it's important to keep that balance, isn't it?
100%. But yeah, if you are among the people who do enjoy reading to learn a language, then a common tip is that you could try reading and listening at the same time. So you can use your Kindle or a normal book. You can read, and then at the same time, you can be listening to the audiobook. And that way you are able to read and match the pronunciation, because as we know, English can be difficult to pronounce with words like though, through, thorough, throughout, and so on. And that also reminds me, given that I'm from the north, Gideon, you're from the south, as south as possible.
Yeah, you don't get more south.
You're French, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
There was one thing that I just picked up on. I noticed you said cinema, and I would always say cinema with a
Yeah, I like to elongate those vowels. It's kind of what we do down south. Yeah, the cinema. Yeah,
exactly. And there's another one. For example, we are from the UK. I would say the UK is a country. Oh, what would you say?
Country.
Exactly. So it's more about country.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think even, for example, I mean, I would say grass. Like football, on the football pitch, there's grass. What would you say?
Grass.
Grass.
You play on the grass. And another one, instead of having a shower, you could have a bath.
Bath. Well, do you know, the amount of times I've had this discussion with my wife, it's a weekly occurrence.
Oh, wow. I don't want to touch any sensitive topics.
Oh, yeah. We've still not come to an agreement. But it's interesting. That's one of the things that I find fascinating, particularly about the United Kingdom, is how quickly accents and pronunciation change when you're driving. You know, within an hour, it's changed, and it's changed again. And yeah, it's quite an incredible thing, really.
100%. Like, I went to university in Liverpool, and the Scouse accent, people from Liverpool, Scousers, they have a really, really unique accent, which is kind of a blend of Northern English and Northern Irish, which makes this like, all right, Gla, how you doing? Yeah, all right, you.
Yeah. And it's just amazing, the difference within such a short distance. It's just incredible.
Exactly. Mind-blowing. Now, anyway, let's move on to the next question. I think we'll do 2 more in total. So we'll cover 5 questions in total, and then we will call it a day.
I could
So,
do this for ages. Yeah. No, but
yeah,
we'll limit it. Yeah.
maybe
It's
we can
dinner
go
time,
on all
isn't it?
day.
It's dinner time. So yeah.
Um, so next question. I'm looking at the list, and one that I'd like to ask you is, how do you stay fit and healthy? And are you into exercise or sport in any way?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's always been actually quite an important part of my life. So I do like to exercise when I get chance. I'm not one of these guys that lives in the gym at all by any means. As you can see, I'm not the biggest guy, but I do like to stay fit and healthy. For me, for two reasons: just for the physical benefits, because my job, I'm sitting down all day, pretty much every day, and if I don't do something, I go stir crazy.
Uh-huh.
And I find that I have to exercise, one, just to get my body moving, but also mentally, it just helps me to clear my head. I don't think about anything. So I try to do cardio in the mornings before work. So cardiovascular exercise, which is just on a treadmill.
Uh-huh.
And then I try to exercise with some weight training after work. It's kind of don't get me wrong, I don't do that every day. That's the goal. But whether it happens is another thing.
Exactly. Maybe you could start listening to podcasts in Spanish whilst you do it, and you're killing two birds with one stone. Just saying.
I completely agree with you. I know I should do it. I really should. Yeah.
And something that is always linked to exercise and being healthy and fit is our favorite topic.
Oh yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
It's food.
Yes.
Food, glorious food.
Yeah.
So on the podcast we recorded just before this on Gideon's channel, go check out the video. We were speaking about food for like 10 minutes, and we could have continued for another hour or two or 4 or days.
Quite easily.
Tell me, Gideon, if you could have any three, I'm showing four fingers, but I want to say any three-course meal, what would it be? What would you have for your starter, your main course, and your dessert? And I know I'm putting you on the spot again, but imagine it's like your last meal.
Okay.
What would you have?
All right. Wow. Now, just to let you know, I'm the kind of guy that I look at the menu and I'm not a quick chooser. So it takes me a while to choose. Okay, let me think about it. So
I'll take it all.
Yeah, just one of everything, please.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to start at the end. Okay. I'm going to start with the dessert because I have a real sweet tooth. I love sweet food. I love chocolate. Chocolate is my kryptonite. It's my weakness. And I pretty much live for chocolate. It's a real passion of mine. So I don't actually know the technical term, but there's something called a lava cake.
Okay.
Which is like a chocolate sponge that when you cut into it, this warm chocolate just pours out, and there's ice cream on the side. So, and it's just incredible beyond words. So that with some salted caramel ice cream, and that's the perfect way to end. Okay, so started with a dessert.
Perfect.
As a starter, do you like the way I'm going round? There's no
order. No, it's interesting. I've got a cushion here, so I'm gonna get comfortable. And I'm all ears. Tell me about it.
I think as a starter, wow, that is a really difficult one.
Chocolate lava cake.
Yeah, just a smaller. No, yeah, chocolate lava cake. No, I'd probably go. It sounds a little bit fancy, but I loved like baked camembert with cranberry. I really like that. And for my main, I'm going to stick with what I said to you. One, just because I love it, a roast dinner, just a good, solid, full roast dinner with all the trimmings, and I'm a happy man.
Okay, perfect. It sounds good. Now, just let's go over the trimmings. So, you said previously that the roast dinner would usually be with chicken, but it could be with lamb, it could be with turkey, it could be with beef, it could be with gammon. But then, what are the little trimmings?
So, I'm going to go with what I would have. So, definitely Yorkshire puddings, without a doubt. It's not a roast dinner without Yorkshire puddings. This might be controversial. Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, why not? I'm in Brussels at the moment, so yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So Brussels sprouts, carrots, good roast potatoes, good roast potatoes, pigs in blankets, which is little sausages wrapped in bacon.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm trying to think what else comes with a roast dinner.
Another one that we like to have in our family is what's it called? Cauliflower cheese.
Yeah, definitely. Well done. Cauliflower cheese, yes.
So good.
I'm starving.
Yeah, yeah. And then maybe you can double up on the potatoes. So not only have roast potatoes, but also mashed potatoes. And then, of course, you have the gravy. And one thing that I usually do is have little peas and mix the peas in the mash.
I do that. I do that as well. I love that. I've just got one question, which is quite a serious thing for me.
Okay.
Do you put gravy on your potatoes
Uh,
as well as the rest?
hmm. So the priorities when it comes to putting gravy on things, first it has to be the meat, because this is one downside about a roast dinner. Sometimes the meat can be a little bit dry.
Agreed.
So then you have the gravy to counteract that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you need to put gravy in the Yorkshire pudding.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So they're the two priorities. And then it depends how much gravy you've got. If you've got a lot of gravy, you put it on everything. But I wouldn't mind if I don't put it on other things, as long as I put it on the meat and the Yorkshire pudding.
Yeah. So you end up with this like little swimming pool of gravy in your Yorkshire pudding. Yes. Yeah. I'm a man after my own heart. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a bit peckish?
I'm absolutely starving right now. I need to eat.
Me too, me too. But yeah, we'll call it a day there. We'll finish there. I still need to keep thinking about my perfect meal. Maybe we'll do another one of these videos, and by then I'll have a definitive answer.
I would love to. Yeah, thank you for having me, mate. That was really enjoyable.
No, my absolute pleasure. As I said, check out the video that we've recorded, which will be up before this is up. Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure, Gideon. I feel like we've got to know each other better, despite the fact that I'm into football and you like DIY. But for everybody watching this, I hope you found it useful. Let us know in the comments if you have any further questions you'd like to ask us, of course. And if you'd like me to continue doing these interview podcasts, then like the video and subscribe for more, of course. So thank you so much. Have a great day, and see you next time.
Thank you, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Ciao, ciao.
Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and see you next time.